few days ago, when I was working on an idea campaign for a new client in my agency, I suddenly caught myself smiling, and I thought, well, I love that job, really. But I thought, what if a few years ago I wouldn't be ready to change careers? What if I was still working at school? Well, so let me take you through my story and the lessons I've picked up along the way. Let me take you to the beginning of the millennium, when I was a newly minted teacher. I've dreamt of becoming one since I was a child. I used to play school, teaching dolls and teddy bears sitting on a couch. So finally, when I became a teacher, I thought, well, I felt like a dream came true. I was full of energy and ideas. I was created and made my lessons engaging. I wanted my students to learn as much as possible. I wanted to give them possibilities to spread the world, to meet other people. School also gave me incredible opportunities to travel the world. I took part in communist projects and met amazing people, teachers full of passion, full of energy. We shared experiences. I met many people from other countries and from different cultures. And I was really happy. I felt like I was in a place that was really mine. But as the years were passing by, the reality of school changed. And I felt differently. The reality changed because, and it was no longer about teaching students communication skills and helping them freely communicate in English. It became more about tests, exams, and statistics. The bureaucracy was taking over. All the reforms that came from the Ministry of Education made the school reality harder for teachers, but also for students. And for me, it was a change because my creativity was no longer valued. And I thought, it's hard. I was thinking change, but it was very hard because it seemed safer to stay in a place where I was. My body started giving me signals that the situation was hurting me. I had chronic lower back pain that made my daily activities difficult. And what was even worse, I brought everything home and my family was paying the price too. So I thought it can't be like that anymore. And I decided to change. So still after 18 years of working at school, I just moved out. My friends proposed me to promote their architectural company, so I started my own business. I invested in myself, built new skills in marketing and PR, and I felt like I'm in a place where I should be. My business started to expand. I worked with clients, with other clients. I wanted to grow professionally, so I took many courses and expanded my knowledge in that field. And when everything was going right, the pandemic hit. So the next change was ahead of me. My clients were struggling, so the first things that had to go were promotions and marketing. They didn't want to pay, so I had to find new possibilities. So I searched online and came across a company that made promotional animations for different clients. I applied, I made the recruitment task, and I liked it so much that they hired me. So another chapter began, this time as a script writer. So I was writing scripts for animations, clients such as Sharp or Armrest, or clients from automotive industry or medical sector or public administration. This was the time when I believed that one picture is worth 1,000 words. And I believed in the power of visual thinking, the concept that stayed with me ever since. But I wanted to go further, and I wanted to grow professionally. So I take postgraduate studies in graphic design, and I did. I also wanted to grow professionally, so I started to search for a job in PR agency, and I found one. I started working with an incredible team of professionals and learned a lot from them. I learned how to organize events, I learned how to write press releases, how to make graphics, and I soaked up knowledge like sponge. I learned a lot, really. But at that time, I also learned something much harder. I learned something that how is it to feel to make a mistake. At that time, I didn't understand that mistakes are a part of life. Mistakes are a part of process of learning, and that everybody makes mistakes. I couldn't separate from my mistake, and it was overwhelming. It was really hard for me at that time. But the hardest part was that other people started to point it out, and I felt like a complete loser, if you know what I mean. I felt that I failed, that I just failed, and it was too overwhelming for me. Sometime later, I came across Winston Churchill's words that a success is the ability to go from one failure to another without loss of enthusiasm. And I thought I will hold on to that. Because a mistake doesn't define you. A mistake is not the end, it is the beginning. It is the beginning of, it is redirecting. And this is how resilient people take it. Resilient people are not the ones who don't make mistakes. They are the ones who take it and redirect their activities. They learn from it, they change the reality, and they move on. Because this is the most important, to move on after making a mistake. And just like this picture, you know, the mistake is, especially when we set the bar so high for ourselves that we don't leave the place for something to go wrong, that something might go wrong. And we have the image of ourselves as a person who's reliable and who doesn't make any mistakes, who's the best. And those mistakes may make this image crack. And it is hard for us to stand on our feet again and leave the fear of failing. Let go of the fear of failing. But I tried, and because the next change was ahead of me and another job search, I decided, as I said, to stick on the words to Winston Churchill and forget about this mistake and move on. So I decided to take up another job, I went to many job interviews and started treating them as training. And after a while, I got better and better at handling those stressful situations. And it was my professional boot camp, as I said. I stopped being a victim. I stepped out of the victim mindset. I used everything I learned, and I started another job. I got another job, this time as in the promotions department of a sports university in Poland. And this was great because, again, I met wonderful people full of passion, energy, passionate to sport. And after a while, I was promoted and soon found myself leading the promotions department of a sports university. I met valuable connections. I worked with a wonderful team. I organized the work of the team. I wrote, I made graphics. So I did everything I learned. Used my knowledge and skills. But at the time I thought, well, I missed some managerial skills. If I was supposed to be a good leader, so I missed the managerial skills. So I approached it like a task, and I enrolled another postgraduate study, this time at management. But at the time I was writing my final thesis, I already knew that the next change was ahead of me, and by the end of the course, postgraduate course, I was already working in my current agency. I had to change jobs because of administrative turbulence, so I did. Another job search, and this time I started work at the PR agency, which I'm in now. This was a very hard time. The 7 years I spent after leaving school. But this year marks 7 years when I left school, and I must say, these 7 years I learned more about myself than I did in the previous 18. And looking back, I can clearly see the transformation I went through, and I know that every step of that transformation, every stage of that transformation is a point that made me the person I am today. And I am thankful for everything I went through. I am thankful for all the people I met and all the experiences I took part in. I'm thankful for everything I learned, because all those situations built me up as a new person. And I have a message for you, because as you see, it's not too late to change what you're doing. If you feel uncomfortable in a place you're in, then you can take a chance, take a risk, and move on, find your goal and realize it. Sometimes, it is hard to move from one place to another because we feel safe in what we know and we fear the things we just doesn't know. So it's worth taking a risk. It's worth moving on and looking for a special space. We'll be happy, we'll be happier, fulfilled. And remember that everyone makes mistakes. We all make mistakes, and this is normal, because it's what it takes when you learn, when you're in the process of change, when you're in the process of transformation. But those mistakes create little cracks through which light can enter. So we shouldn't be afraid of them. because they are natural stages of our transformation. And looking back at that transformation and looking back at all the things I went through, I think that it is worth going on and moving on and looking at valuing every person, every connection, which make dots on the map of your life. And each dot is very, very important. And when you learn to connect those dots, you'll discover that they make a trace of the next path you're going to explore. Just like as they did for me, because a meeting that happened almost 20 years ago, when I was here first in Denizli, brought me today on this stage. And I'm very grateful for the invitation and happy to see all of you because you're wonderful young people, and I really can't wait when I hear about your beautiful stories which you will write with courage. And I wish you all the best and hope to see your successes and new goals. Be brave and just move on. Thank you.